Welcome back to another episode of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today in Lockland, Ohio at the Benson Street Bridge. And I'm joined once again by John Campbell. John, thanks for having us here.
Well, thank you, Susie. It's good to have you back in Lockland. We appreciate it.
It's another beautiful day here.
A fantastic day.
It really is.
Doesn't get much better than this.
No. So there's a bridge behind us that we hear has been around for a very long time. Can you tell us a little bit about the bridge?
Well, that it has. It's been around since 1909 is when it was initially conceived and the building started by Ernest Gast out of East Price Hill, who was an employee of the Hamilton County Engineers Office. Hugo Eichler out of Walnut Hills assisted him, and Pete Precker done the concrete work, and the grand total when the bridge was dedicated in 1910 was $8,600 grand total, and it was a novel concept. A lot of people call it the Rainbow Arch Bridge.
Yeah.
And I think that pretty much fits. Somebody just called it the Arch Bridge. Some people call it the Benson Street. Some people call it the Wyoming. Some people call it the Reading Lockland. There's a mixture over the years of who wants to claim it. Ultimately, it does belong to Hamilton County and is merely the separator over the East Fork of the Mill Creek between the two towns of Reading and Lockland, Ohio.
So one structure by many names, it's also been rumored to be called the Marsh Bridge. What is that? Why is there heated debate around that?
Well, the Marsh style.
Marsh style.
The Marsh style. It's sometimes confused with that for people that have a history around bridges, study bridges. They'll call it a Marsh Bridge. It's actually not. When Gast built this, he designed it, and it come basically from designs that were already occurring in Germany. Now, Gast is a German immigrant.
Yeah.
So is Precker, okay? So is Eichler. So there's a strong German connection with the structure, the building of this. And Marsh, out of Iowa, he ended up patenting a bridge very similar, except the arches would go down further on each side where the arches here stop at the deck. But his patent didn't come out until 1911. And it is so thought and so rumored, and I tend to be a student of that Marsh may be copied off somebody's paper.
Oh.
But it's a design that really was novel at the time.
Yeah.
That now you can see similar type bridges in a lot of locations, but with variations. This is the first one in the state of Ohio. Now, in 1911, Gast came back here and built another one just like it on South Cooper Avenue here in Lockland.
Huh.
So that was over the West Fork of the Mill Creek.
Still standing?
No, it is long gone. It was replaced.
Okay.
It was replaced.
Now, John, you just brought up an interesting point. Is this something that was destined from the get-go to be demolished?
No, actually, when you bring that up, we had the flood of 1913, the Great Flood, Cincinnati and all that, and it washed part of the abutments away on this and the other bridge. But it wasn't anything that they couldn't repair. They took care of it, no big deal, and the bridge is just fine, it's been standing ever since. But in 1979, it used to have a grate on it where you could look right down into the creek.
Yeah.
And that was replaced because the bridge only had a 10-ton weight limit, and they wanted to increase that to 40 ton. So they shut the bridge down in 79, and they revamped it, and they put a lot of effort and a lot of design, a lot of money into it. And then come around 1986 or so, when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, a great group of people, them and the Miami Conservancy District wanted to rechannel the creek. Well, in the course of that, they wanted to take the bridge out, throw it away, gone, okay, along with several others in other communities.
Right.
And in stepped Midge Brown and Sue Foley. And they went downtown Cincinnati, and they researched for days, and they worked very diligently around 1986, thereabouts, and they ended up being instrumental in actually saving the bridge. After this, the Mayor Jim Brown, had stepped in, the mayor of Reading, Frank Carnival, had stepped in, and they want the bridge to stay. This is a landmark. It's more to this community, or to both these communities, than just a bridge to get across a creek. You know, it's something that commemorative plates have seen this bridge on them. It's something that when they had a Centennial Day parade, they made a giant float out of the bridge, okay? And it's very important to these two communities, and rightfully so. I know it is to me.
Yeah.
And they were very successful in saving the bridge. And then in 1992, as a result, they say, okay, you want to save it? Well, let's take another look at it, and let's repair any cracks or what have you. And they came by, and at about $381,000, a little costly, but they completely redone this bridge. And really, there weren't any cracks in it. There were cracks and shavings around the sidewalk and a little on the sides, but nothing that was structurally not sound, nothing dangerous. But they went ahead and they completely went through the whole bridge in 92, and I hope it's there for another 100 years.
John, there's a huge sign in the middle of the bridge, and all depending on what side you are coming over or going into, it says, what does it say? Welcome.
Welcome to Lockland, where friends meet. Welcome to Reading, where friends meet.
There it is. Okay. So it's not the same on both sides. So when I'm leaving Reading, coming over the bridge this way,
you're seeing
hello, Lockland.
Yes.
Hello, Lockland.
And vice versa.
Okay.
So that sign is a really interesting thing. It was originally put up sarcastically, cynically. There was a local merchant in Reading by the name of Arkenbauer. And what was occurring, why he funded this and why he done this, was because at the time, Lockland's a big mill town. Reading, they're doing their own thing. They got a lot of bars over there. So a lot of your people from both sides that come to work, others go over there to partake, if you will.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another, and who's better, I think, might have been said over a brass rail in a spittoon one day. And here we are with fisticuffs out here, and it become a regular place where people actually fought. I mean, people would come from out of town to come here to the bridge to fight. Oh yeah. And it got rather old, maybe, to Mr. Arkenbauer anyway. And he puts this sign up, and it's, hey, where friends meet, huh? Right?
Wow.
So with that goes up in the 20s, and it stays up there for years and years. And eventually it's replaced in the very late 40s, early 1950s with a second sign, and it's got lights and it's got all kinds of stuff with it, and it's a very, very nice light. You know, people are now celebrating the sign, and they want to redo it, and they want to, let's get another one up there, and let's do this and do that with it, and let's make it wider and all that. So that goes on to yet a third sign that a lot of the folks around here would remember from the 1960s. Just a white sign with red letters, fluorescent tubes inside. This thing is 18 feet wide.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And that sign stays up until 1992 when they revamp the bridge.
Got it.
The county takes it down. It finds its way, rumor has it, to a storage facility inside the Reading Municipal Complex.
Inside Reading?
Inside Reading.
Oh, okay.
They stored it off. Yeah. Okay, here's another fight, right? No. But anyway, it finds its way over there, then eventually, apparently, to their water plant. It's just so big and cumbersome, and they weren't sure that they were really going to put it back up. It's outlived its day. That's why, we got a brand new bridge now. Do you really want that back up there? And universally, it was not really. We just don't care that much about it. And the sign was, I believe, inadvertently, because of where it was stored, it was damaged, and later it was just destroyed. So it couldn't be used again. And from there, 2 years later, in '94, both the mayor of Lockland and the mayor of Reading were talking, and the council people, and they started regretting the decision not to put it back up. Say, maybe we lost something there. And they realized soon on that they had lost a part of their own heritage. So all the years later, until October of 2017.
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah, well, government moves fast.
Very
right?
fast.
2017, this brand new sign we see behind us goes up, which is the fourth sign now to go above this bridge since the 1920s.
All off the backs of sarcasm, huh, John?
All off the backs of sarcasm. And, you think about it, though, but there was a lot of famous boxers that come out of Reading and Lockland.
Hey, I was thinking that when you were saying it's a place where people come to fight, and I'm like, can we sell tickets?
Yeah. You had Big Sam Wallace from Greenwood over on the west side. They called him the Lockland Lion.
Oh, wow.
And then you had Mike Schreck. He lived over here on Mechanic Street. His house is still standing. And they called him Big Mike around town. He owned a saloon. And he'd throw down with you, as they say. Okay, they'd fight. And I'm sure a lot of their fights occurred right here. And it's interesting because he worked hard at fighting George Dempsey. It never did happen, but he tried. And these two ended up at the Clifton Arena in Cincinnati, and they fought each other more professionally.
Right.
And Wallace, I say Lockland, was on the losing end of that. However, Wallace continued on in the fight promoting and training, and a lot of boxers come out of this area without going into a great detail on that. But
John, I'm a huge boxing fan. I love that tidbit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
but that's
honestly,
how it starts.
I think it would have been really neat to see somebody throw down behind us. I mean, just to be a passerby, nothing more.
People would come from all over, amazingly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lost tidbit, maybe a little lost fact that, a lot of people really don't realize.
Yeah.
That all this area would be covered with fans and so-called fans. They'd come out of a bar and they come out of a factory, and, who's fighting?
That's amazing.
But it was a rivalry. And, that rivalry between the two towns, and the two towns, don't get me wrong, two towns are great. Two towns love each other.
Yeah.
There's a great heritage between Reading and Lockland. There really is. But, there was the Thanksgiving Day football games that went for years, and between Lockland and Reading High School. And it was just, it was really something.
Thank you for watching another episode of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today in Lockland, Ohio, with John Campbell, the expert. So enjoy interviewing you, John. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you again.
Well,
it's great having you here.
Lovely to be here at the Benson Street Bridge. Remember, travel slowly and stop often. Bye for now.